Does anyone need papers? Anyone need papers here? I have this over here. Papers. Good morning, everybody. Okay. Adar Aleph, a new month. Thank you, Israel. Thank you so much. Adar Aleph is sponsored by Lori and Stephen Eagle. Memory of Lori's mother, Tzivia Bracha Bas Elia. Anonymously in honor of the coming of Mashiach. By Linda and Serge Merkin in honor of their son, Yaakov Akiva, completing the Nachyomi, and for the protection of their son, Hillel Tzvi Yehuda, currently serving in Gaza, and for all the Chayalim. And this week is sponsored by Joni and Moshe Pollack, Leilun Yishmas, Bas Sheva Bas Meir. It's Moshe's grandmother. I have to leave early. I have to go to a levaya of someone that was someone that learned with us a lot, also online, with someone that has been in my life since I'm a kid. Many of the Chevra here remember him. Our dear brother Moish Geller was nifter last night. Remember Moish? Not Israel? Can. So the levaya is at Har Menuchot, and I just want to dedicate the learning Leilun Nishmatzon Moshe Pesach ben Avigdor ben Yamin Tehen Nishmas Tzura B'Tzura Chaim. You'll hear a lot more about him. A lot more. He was very, very close to Shalom. To all of us, anyone that knew Moshe, you remember Moshe? No? You remember Moshe? Yeah. I had the schus of going with Pesach yesterday to say goodbye to him. Okay, so we're on the bottom of Daf Lamed Ches. We're finishing right now the last two stages in terms of awareness and consciousness of how we're going to approach Be'ezrat Hashem, or how we already are approaching this concept called Tikkun HaMedina. The last thing that we learned was very, very, very important, and that is by noticing that the midah of Gaiva is something that we know is, on the one hand, a blockage from being who we have to be, be'emes, be'pnimius, but on the other hand, as we've been learning, that detecting the choshech is not enough only to lidchototo, to push it away, but understanding that there's a beautiful, most miraculous kernel of light that's within the choshech that needs to be, for a lack of better words, redeemed from there. We need to redeem the certain nikuda itself that acts as a blockage and restore it in its proper place. If we keep on saying that, Gaiva, I know this, kochi ve'otzem yadi, asali yisachayil hazeh, so on the same token, Gaiva, ha'gaiva ve'hagdula, lechai olamim. That's where we ended off last time. Restoring Gaiva to its proper place. Holy pride. Ha'gaiva ve'hagdula lechai olamim. Gaiva, restoring this concept of Gaiva to Hashem. Now, when I walk around, and everyone falls under this in a very troubling way, whenever they're attempted to answer the sincere question that people have, what does it mean that you're the chosen people? That's a very tricky question, especially when it's coming from a sincere seeker. When it's coming from a dafkanik that's trying to push the genocide, apartheid, hatred, and the whole olam hazeh stuff on you, don't even bother with those conversations ever in trying to explain to someone, what does it mean, asher b'char banu mikol ha'amim? But as far as I know, everyone that's here davened, because you were here, or will daven. Ari, don't look at him, it's fine. Or will daven, or will say this bracha at a certain point during the day, asher b'char banu mikol ha'amim. And to attempt to answer that question when it's not coming from Pnimius will bring an immense amount of danger and the hafuch of what you're trying to do. And if you try to sweeten it up too much as well, where you try to de-triumphalize the concept as well, if that's even a word, that also messes you up. On the side of listen, I don't want to make you feel that I'm superior, so let me try to really tell you, it's not really Asher Bacha Banu Mikol Amim, we're not really chosen, it's just like a figure of speech. We have something special, and you have something just as special as well. Also there you get lost. It's very, 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 very confusing. But I want to approach this now, this concept of restoring the gaiva, hopefully in a way that before I try to explain it to anybody, before I attempt to explain it to anybody else, before I try to give over this teaching, this understanding to anybody else of what does it mean, this restoration of holy Jewish pride, קודם כל זה חייב להיות ברור בי. I have to really understand it inside. I have to feel it. I have to feel this notion of what this Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Amim means in order to take this inyan of Gaiva and restore it in its right place, which we'll hopefully continue to be doing over here. When I walk around and saying, the Rebbeinu Shalom has something, he has something special with us. He has something so special with us, but it can't be that special thing is meant to make people feel that we're superior. That's not the inyan either, even if it is the truth on some realm. You understand? Which we know it to be. Because Hashem talked to us on Mount Sinai. We're in the Parshiyos, we're still on Mount Sinai. So it's a very, you see what I mean? It's a very, you gotta really be tuned into the pnimius of what this inyan really means in order to convey that message to the whole world. Listen, and we say this all the time. And Musaf and Shabbos, we always speak about Behu Yashmienu Berachmav Shenis, that Hashem, you'll speak to us once more. Speak to us just once more. But then it says, Le'ene Kol Chai. But this time let the whole world hear it, let the whole world see it, right? It's a piece of Rav Shlomo crying this on one of the albums. Hu Elokeinu, when he sings the nigun, Hu Elokeinu, he stops in the middle, he says, you spoke to us once on Mount Sinai, but the whole world didn't hear. So we are asking you, Almighty, V'hu yashmi'enu b'racham av shenis, speak to us just once more. But this time, let the whole world see it, let the whole world feel it. What happened, and Har Sinai, don't change history. But be humble enough to understand, maybe I didn't really understand the Asher Bachar Banu in the deepest way possible. This is all in order to take the concept of Gaiva, which he says is a midah that was fallen and me'uvat. The midah of Gaiva was fallen and me'uvat, and it messed things up inside, and we have to restore it to a place where when it comes out, when you really want to give Dvar Hashem to someone, no force, never force. Even if it's the holiest thing you're saying, if it's with force, it doesn't go into the right place. The way we have to receive the word of what makes us us has always got to be sweet and smooth and yashar v'choder el hamatara, like we've been talking about. They're staying focused and on point, mamash, to the right place. So look at the second to bottom paragraph on Lamed Chet, Daf Lamed Chet. Let's learn for a few minutes. Mikan v'hala, from here on, meaning, what's from here? From understanding that the whole picture here of what's happening here in this country in order for the Tikkun Medina to take place, the fixing of the state, the country, the whole inyan here, once I realized that it really is about understanding and implementing the holiest anava in order for there to be proper and holy gava, mikan v'hala, notzeret ha'efsharut legilui ha'or. Now you know what's possible? The revelation of light. Now there's room. Now there's place for light to emanate. Now there's room. Before it was all clogged. You knew this is what has to be. It's all clogged. It was all clogged. But once I recognized what we said before, now space, there's a chalal panui. There's a vacant space now for the revelation of light to take place. In a marriage, it's the same thing. If you're certain, listen, honey, I'm like, this is like the bubble, this is not what you're saying, but it's like the cartoon, like that bubble that's above you. Sweetie, I'm smiling at you. Keep on telling me all the things that need to be fixed, and I'm doing the right thing by going like this. I want to make you feel like you're right. Even though, Be'emet, you and I both know you have no idea what you're talking about. So if that's still what's going on in you, there's no space for a gilui of or, of light. There could be the truth, but the real truth has to shine. He says now there's room for gilui ha'or, revelation of light. Oto or shaya davar shebe'emunah bilvad. That same kernel of light that was just in level of, well, I believe there's light here to extract from. Yatchil me'ata le'a'ir mitochenu me'at me'at. Now, walking the streets of Eretz Yisrael with the most anavadik way. Now, the light that comes from the realization that we spoke about begins to appear more and more and more. It's even less about things you say, or even actions that you do or don't do. It's just a mitzias, it's just a reality. You know, sometimes the people that have the most effects on our life and have the most, like, the most moments that they touch us the most, it's not necessarily words we heard from them or actions we know they did or refrained from. It's just sometimes you look at a person and the way they carry themselves in this world. You just look at, you observe a person. That person walks with holy dignity. It's just the way they are. And sometimes those people are the ones that have the greatest hashpah in their life. Why? Because they are walking pieces of Hashem that made space for Hashem to shine through, where there's more of hitgalut of or, light, more and more and more. הרגשות הבריאים המקוריים של גדלות השם וגאוותו בעמו ישראל יתחילו למלא את ליבנו בתחושה עמוקה של גאווה יהודית, גאוותו של העם הנבחר על ידי השם, לשאת את משואת שלום האמת לעולם כולו. You do know what a masuah is? Torch. The ones that can carry the real torch of real peace. Nothing to do with anything that's been used until now. But the ones that carry the torch of shalom emet are the ones that are walking around with everything that we said until now. They're the ones that the real seekers of peace are waiting for. And we have not been exposed to this on a national level at all, yet. Meaning mitzad, those that are, so to speak, representatives. And not just here, anywhere. Like maybe I'm wrong. Which leader of a country could you say carried the torch of peace in a humble, holy gaivadika way in the world ever? Was there ever a leader that you felt like they carried the torch? Sometimes it looks so holy, but inside it's so rakuv. And I'm going to say something. I'm going to mention one person's name because I feel like it resembled a lot of how the world is so hafuch. Which leader, which person from the last generation?
Mandela.
Nelson Mandela. When Nelson Mandela came on the scene, when he was freed, everyone they listened to some of his words. They were so compelling. They're so beautiful. I don't want to continue. I don't want to continue because I know for Bemet, some of my South African friends, it's hard to hear because he was really this figure that Ki'ilu resembled this. There was something so blemished. Pagum I don't know if you remember him so much. No? We were too young.
You grew up with him.
You grew up as a...
Like he's on the news, the family were there, it's part of life.
Yeah. I don't want to get into him so much, but think of it. Is there anyone else you could think of? Gandhi. Okay. That's
Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln.
Don't go back too far.
I would say Muhammad Gandhi, probably. Yeah.
Well, he was also...
Exactly, meaning...
Mother Teresa.
Walking around, you're a humble person, you're carrying the torch of real Shlom Emet. And we're waiting, like Rabbi Nachman, Rav Nosson wrote in the Likutei Tfilos, Shlach lanu manhig amiti. Send for us a real leader. A real leader is someone that walks with this type of recognition that I am huge because of one reason. Because I know that I'm nothing. Therefore, I'm huge. Because I really, really know that I'm nothing. Right? They're the ones that are carrying the torch for what's called Shalom Emet for the whole world. And each of us, but I want you all to believe that if you're learning this Torah and it's touching your soul, it means that there's a nekuda of this in each and every one of you. It is. There's at least a ratzon to be like this. And we have to believe in that and hold on to this and ask Hashem, show me more of this side. Please guide me to What more I need to do to be a torch carrier like this? Please Hashem, humble me, so that you could become bigger in the world. Bekoach ha'emet hazor, Rav Ginsburg says, in the strength of this type of emes, nuchal la'amod hachen, we could stand up ready, velif'ol al menat leshanot et ha'olam kulo letova, we could really change over the whole world. Did you ever, if any of you ever was privileged to be with the Rebbe, right? Or if you've seen any footage of the Rebbe, do you ever feel like there's a person that's holding machzik me'atzmo, that's like he's holding from himself whenever you look at any of the footage of the Rebbe? On the one hand, machzik me'atzmo, it's just a shtickle elokus in the form of a body, right? On the other hand, was there ever anyone that had more tochen in his life than the Rebbe? That had more of a something to say? More of a statement to the world? Where does that come from? Hagaiva v'agdula l'chai olamim. This is the fourth level. He says, when that's the consciousness that I live with, this begins to appear and emanate. This doesn't just come a belief. Oh, I know it's inside of me. It becomes revealed in every way, shape, or form of my life. That's nefesh, ruach, neshama, that was chaya. Now what's yechida, the fifth level? Levasof, at the end. Or pnimi ze yizrach mitochenu, this inner light will shine forth from within our midst. V'yatbia et atzmenu ala metziut v'yeshane ota, and it will stamp ourselves. It will place ourselves in the most embedded way on all of reality, and it will change reality. It's true that a lot of the technological advancements and revolutions that have been taking place have also stamped themselves in the reality and it's changed reality. But it's changed reality on the level of Eitz Hadas. Eitz Hadas is either good or bad. There are a lot of things that stamp reality. But a lot of those things are either can be good or can be bad. What we're talking about is Eitz HaChaim. And Eitz HaChaim is not about good or bad. It's giving people a real life. It's making people literally feel, I am alive. This is real. It's not, you understand, it's not about good or bad anymore. Like, again, a lot of people, everyone wants to make changes, and a lot of people have made changes in the world. They've managed to stamp themselves in reality and brought about a difference, a whole huge change. But how many of those things could you say were just kulo tov? Kulo tov. Can anyone say about, like, the Apple, the company Apple, that it can you say it didn't stamp itself on reality and changed what reality looks like? You can't say it didn't change reality. It did. It changed the reality of this world. Can anyone say that it was kulo tov? Mapitom. Now, can anyone say it's kulo ra? No. Can you say about other things or people that their stamp on reality changed it kulo tov? Yes. What could you say it about? Only those that are po'el from this place of utmost. I just have to say, do you know how much I missed that? That is the harmony of the Torah that we're learning. That is the harmony. I'm not Jerry. Yossi knows. That's the. This is everything. This is humbling ourselves to when we were just like 4 people sitting around a little basement. This is where it's all about. Thank you. Refuah Shlema. Al yedei hafichas hachoshech, on top of Lametet. Al yedei hafichas hachoshech hapnimi haruchani leor. By transforming the inner darkness, the inner spiritual darkness to light, anava, and I want to say this, even those that live here that look at people in Chutz La'aretz as if we have it right because we were privileged for this matnas chinam called Eretz Yisrael, and looking at them this way, even the way that I share the light of Eretz Yisrael, for it to be in a way that is Eitz HaChaim. We're begging you, Hashem, to reveal to us how to speak about your precious gift called Eretz Yisrael. Same thing. Through anava, not through this. Hard to hear, I know, because it touches our button, it presses our buttons so much. And my lasot, I'm speaking to myself. על ידי הפיכת החושך הפנימי הרוחני לאור, נוכל בעזרת השם להפוך גם את החושך החיצוני החומרי לאור. So it's not just this internal process, I'm becoming an enlightened person and now I'm living with God consciousness and awareness for real. When I live like that, he says the metziut hachomrit. What does that mean? Facts on the ground change. Facts on the ground change too. This is not something that just remains in the realm of, oh, there's a deep internal process of healing and well-being, v'chulei. Facts on the ground begin to change as well. Ha'olam yodeh b'gedlut Hashem. The world will admit to how mighty and great God is. Melech kol haaretz kevodo.
I missed the point of how we choshev to the owner.
Well, that's like the whole Indian here, right? When my
Pure
hakar,
gaiva to pure gaiva, gavat Hashem.
that nikuda specifically, focusing on that nikuda specifically is really what he's basing all of this on. Seder? The world will admit to the greatness of Hashem, Torato ve'amo, His Torah and His people, Zatomeret. You won't have to go around to anybody trying to explain to them, give them the craziest Rashi or Tosfos on Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Amim. You know why? Because the emes of God's decisions will just be. And you won't have to go around explaining to anybody why Hashem chose us and what does the chosen people mean, because it just will be the reality of the world. Just like you won't have to explain to anyone the chosenness of Am Yisrael, just like you don't have to explain to anyone that this is a table. It's that level of mitzias, of what's the pasuk we say by Tashnich? Lo yareu v'lo yashchisu b'chol ha'kodeshi, ki mala ha'aretz dea es Hashem. The God consciousness will fill the whole world, and then when the whole world is one with God conscious, with real anavadika God consciousness, all the things we are working so hard on trying to explain to people will just be. So that changes facts on the ground. Because it's not just that it'll be in the minds and people will accept it, but that will lead to an actual change of what's actually tachlis happening over here.
You think it'll be infused from the head to the heart in all of humanity?
All of humanity. Let's start with us though, first,
Kulo Tova, like in your mind.
Like that stamped there, Mitzias.
Yeah.
The Rebbe to me was the Rebbe to me in that last generation was just, for different people it may be different figures, but I'm thinking like a figure that we could say like, on a general klal level, it's just like Kulo Tov. Now, of course, you're always going to have some chevra. I could believe that, right? I could believe that for myself. However, the fact of the ground is that the way that the emes was shared did not penetrate through the cloud. Whether I think every word he said was unfortunate prophecy or not.
Based on that, the same was unfortunately true with the Rebbe. There was a whole island of the pushback.
But he made a much bigger impact.
But on the level of size, of penetration, and of like that's what I mean. But so like Mashiach will be that. That's exactly what Mashiach is.
I only like that time. It's like it sounds like an all or nothing type of thing. Kulo Tova. Oh, wait a second. Kulo Tova. Like let me just have more Tova than.
Nachon. So that's the individual for me. But what I'm aiming towards is not this compromised peace.
Was Moshe Rabbeinu Kulo Tova?
Lo kam b'Yisrael k'Moshe od, Moshe emet v'torato emet.
Of course, and you have to see it.
Yeah.
Others Baruch Hu had certain times.
Yeah, but that doesn't take away from their stamp on reality. That's what I mean. Right.
In relation to his conduct.
No, it's good. It's very good what you're saying. But I'm saying in terms of their stamp on reality, what the Rebbe brought to the world, the Rebbe changed the whole world. He did. He changed over the whole world. That's holding from Eitz HaChaim. Moshe Rabbeinu changed the whole world. But Mashiach is the one that changes the whole world, and there's no tainas. There's no, let me go to that shul. And that's what we're aiming towards. And when that's the place that I'm aiming towards, and I begin to think about peace, I would never use the word peace until Mashiach comes, that's first. And second of all, I would definitely never use the word peace in things like peace process or shalom achshav, chas v'shalom. You understand? Because you're taking something that in its essence is the goal, the kulo tov, and you're bringing it down to such places filled with gaiva, filled with gaiva. Let's finish this paragraph, I have to run. And the whole world will also, third line, yitztaref elenu besimcha. They'll join us with such joy. Ba'amlachas Hashem kemelech al kol ha'olam kulo. Listen, the prophet already said, Ki beisi beis tefillah yikor lechol ha'amim. Says that's what it's going to be. You realize Mashiach is not a Jewish party. Mashiach's not a Jewish farbrengen. It's the whole world's farbrengen. Then nuchal להצליח בהיפוך הגלגל מתחושת החושך מסביב המאיים על עצם קיומנו. Then we could turn the wheel from the sense of choshech that surrounds us, which is, of course, what we're living right now in a much more revealed manner, but always was. Always was. לגילוי מלא של אור השם האין סופית, a revelation, a full revelation of God's infinite, everlasting surrounding light, a light that surrounds us, והמתחלחל אל תוך תודעתנו, and also seeps in deep inside to our תודעה, to our awareness, not just our awareness, מציאותנו הגשמית וכל אשר סובב אותנו. Everything, all-encompassing. That's the last shlav on the level of yechida, where things that I know to be truths now begin to appear in my life and change facts on the ground. How do we know this is possible? Because we've tasted moments like this, Chavra. We've had moments like this. We know people like this that have been like this in our lives on a certain level. When I walked in to see for the first time, when we went to see Rav Yaakov Meir Shechter, if I had to take a lie detecting test, I could swear, if I was allowed to, that I'm in Gan Eden. I'm touching light. I'm touching Kulotov. Why? Because we were learning from him for 5 months before that, Torah on Anava. That's what we were learning for 5 months before we went to see him the first time. It was Torah's for months. We have it all online about humility. When there's so much of me removed and the real me makes space for the emes to come, you go into a room, the reality is different. It changes. It changes. The only thing is our concept of reality changing is usually about ma'asim, changing facts on the ground. Yeah, eventually all the facts on the ground will be changed, but in a way that stays, that lasts and is permanent. And that's coming from Eitz HaChaim, not from Eitz HaDas Tov V'Ra. Now what we did over here is that Rav Ginsburg gave us 5 different explanations. An explanation for the 5 levels of the soul. Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Chai, Yechida. Then he gave us 5 different implementations of how this actually the process is. But on the tavla that we have over here in the bottom of Lamed Tet, which we will review next time, but I would love for you to look at it already now, we will go over all this again, shlav by shlav. And I know that you're thinking, well, we're waiting still for the how. But it's not true. Because he already began to explain to us what the how is. If we were real with the how, what we would do right now is we'd go and run into the forest and cry over trying to discover what real anava really means. And Hashem point out to me, as hard as it may be, all the moments of gaiva, especially when they are disguised behind the mask of holy truth. Dafka there I want to see that even when I speak about you and your truth, there's still a little bit of schmutz around it. And what's that schmutz?
Ego.
Ani. So it could be you'll come to the same exact words that you would say, but this time the way that you say it and the way that you share the truth smells completely different. This has happened many times. You hear the same Dvar Torah by 2 different Rabbanim, 2 different Tzaddikim. Kimat the same words. And yet somehow, it's like as if they're saying 2 completely different drashas. Again, the Medina, the privilege of having a Medina is enormous. Huge. The question is, what are you filling that kli with? Is it with godly light, or is it with your power? And that is still where we're at right now. This is the crossroads. This is the revolution that Bezrat Hashem, our generation, will see the transition taking place. Bezrat Hashem.
Amen.